Yo guys, what's going on? Got an Agumon Bond of Bravery deck profile for you guys. This is a very fun deck I've been testing out a bunch at locals, and I played it in my store championship, did fairly well, but mainly I just built it as a fun deck. So this deck can do lots of shenanigans. You can warp into your Bond of Bravery here, who is your boss monster. You can play the Rookie Rush game, you can play the Security Control game. There's tons of different ways to build this deck. I think I built it more towards a grindy, like, Security Control deck that just OTKs you in one turn when it's all set up. So let's go ahead and get into the list. So first of all, for the Digi-Eggs, I am playing, of course, 4 copies of Demi-Meramon. I think this guy is really amazing. He has the effect where if you are attacking the player, you get to gain 1000 DP for the turn. So having an extra 1000 DP when you're hitting your opponent's security is really nice, especially because you're playing things like the promo Greymon, putting him up to 6000 base, and then just putting up your Deltamon, for example, to like 8000, and then even your Bond of Bravery, it can make him 15,000, which is really nice, especially in like a Bond Mirror match, or maybe against a Jesmon. You don't want to hit an Omnimon security and die, because if your Bond of Bravery dies in security, a lot of times you can be in a really bad position because you're trashing to security when you're warping into him, right? So it's pretty detrimental. And then 1 copy of Sakudomon. This guy's really cool because if this Digimon is a level 7 Digimon, you get to gain memory once per turn when attacking. So of course your Bond of Bravery is a level 7, so it's just nice, especially because a lot of times you'll be at 4 because 4 memory, because you'll have let's say Marcus and Tai on the field. You'll gain 1 from the Tai, draw a card, and then if you warp into your Bond of Bravery, you'll be at 1. If you attack with this guy, you'll be put back to 2. So then it gives you room to go into like a Gunimon and attack your opponent for game. So I like this egg lineup a lot. And then now for the main deck, playing 4 copies of BT6 Agumon. This guy is amazing for 2 reasons. First of all, he has the main effect where once per turn, all turns, if you play a Tamer with Tai Kamiya, you get to gain a memory. So that's really sick, making Tai effectively 2 cost if you got him on the field. But then his really amazing effect, of course, is the inherited, where if this Digimon is Bond of Bravery, you get security attack +1. So it makes Bond of Bravery an even more impactful card, and I argue this is like the most essential card in the deck, because basically when you go into Bond of Bravery, you'll go ahead and attack, and then you'll delete something with Bravery, use the effect to kill something else, therefore trashing one of your opponent's security cards, and then he'll check 2, because if you have this Agumon underneath him, he has security attack +1. So making this plus Bond of Bravery a 3 security exchange, that is just absolutely insane. So it's on par, I think, in terms of aggressiveness with Gabumon, but I don't think this deck is as consistent as Gabumon, because you're lacking things like Davis, you're lacking Hammer Spark to guarantee your plays, etc. But this guy is really amazing. So then for the other Agumons, I would say the second best one is the promo Agumon, the one that gives all Greymons plus 2,000, or I guess the Greymon on top of him plus 2,000. So this is really amazing with the only Greymon that you're playing in this deck, which is the promo Greymon that gets security attack +1. So making him 7,000 base and then checking 2 cards, it's a really quick way to go ahead and put pressure on your opponent and make them have to play catch up, because you just, like, first turn you Digivolve into a rookie, maybe play Tamer or something, and then you bring this out, go into Greymon, and then check 2, and then a lot of times he'll survive, because if you got this plus Demi-Meramon, he's 8,000, and then checking 2 is really crazy. Even if he does die, you don't care, like, you paid 2 memory for him, right? So it's not even like the biggest commitment, but this guy is just really amazing. And then for the other Agumons, I'm playing 3 copies of the Tamer Searcher. So this guy lets you reveal the top 5 cards on play, and then add any Tamer amongst those cards. Note that it is not actually color restricted, so that's a little bit relevant in this specific version of the deck, but most times you're just grabbing a red Tamer anyways. I don't think 4 of him is necessary. Honestly, I might even cut him to 2, because you really only want to resolve this once or twice, and like that's it. A lot of times I just found myself needing him for the Agumon name, but there are other Agumons that you can play, but I generally think like these 2 are the most essential, and then the others are just like up to your personal preference. And the last 2, like regular Agumon I'm playing, is 2 copies of the 1.5 2-cost Agumon. So this guy is really nice because he is a 2-cost 4,000, which is pretty sick. So lots of times you can choke your opponent just playing him for 2 costs, putting them to 1, or you can, put like multiple Agumons on the field, because if you're at like 5 or something, you can like put like 2 of him and then like another Agumon, or like basically letting you spam the board quicker, which is pretty relevant against some decks. Like I was playing against a Jessamon player the other day, and just because that deck takes a little bit of time to set up, and you don't really want to attack into my security because he knows I'm playing Gaia Force and stuff like that, I was able to just in one turn put down like 3 Agumons and then just OTK him the next turn. So it is pretty nice. So that's it for the Agumons. The kind of honorary Agumon here is 1 copy of Agumon Expert. So this guy, do note a couple things. So first of all, he has the on-play effect of return 1 Digimon with Agumon from your recycle bin to your hand, or your trash to your hand. So this fetches any Agumon in the game, including himself if you're not playing another copy. It also grabs back Bond of Bravery from your trash, because this does have Agumon in the name. Now, do note that Tai here also works with Agumon for the first part, where this says if you bring out one of your Agumon or Greymon, or one of your Digimon with Agumon or Greymon in its name, you get to draw the card and gain the memory. So because that first part does not specifically have to be like Agumon or Greymon, it can be Agumon Expert, it can be Agumon Bond of Bravery, it can be Metal Greymon, etc. It works when you bring him out into the battle area. You can gain a memory draw card. Now, the thing that doesn't work is you cannot warp on top of Agumon Expert. So just keep that in mind, because it specifically has to be Agumon for the warping. Okay, so that part doesn't work, but the gaining memory does. But this card is just here to grab back your Bond of Bravery, grab back your BT6 Agumon, because those cards are very essential. So I thought it was just nice as a one-of in the deck. So that's it for the Agus. And then for the last other 2 level 3s, I'm just playing 2 copies of Flamemon, because you are playing lots of hybrids and lots of red Tamers in this deck, so it is really nice to search them. So that's it for the level 3s. For the level 4s, playing 3 copies of Promo Greymon. So I was originally playing 4 copies of this, but I actually took out the 4th copy to put in 1 copy of Deltamon. Deltamon is a card out of BT6. It's a vanilla. It is a 2-drop, 7,000 level 4. So this helps you, again, swing early. So it does kind of the same thing as these guys, that just put pressure on your opponent. A lot of times he won't die to security, but this is nice because you can also like Digivolve this over Flamemon, and it like, you know, if you Digivolve this over Flamemon, you really don't want to do that because it's not going to be anything. It'll just be a 5,000 vanilla. So this is something you can Digivolve over Flamemon or Agumon Expert and still have like a decent play to, you know, kind of go through. But this guy is just amazing because you get to get security attack +1 if he has an Agumon underneath him, and that's not like a when attacking. It's not a when Digivolve. It's just during your turn, so you can camp him in the breeding area if you need to, and then just bring him out, potentially gain a memory off a tie, and then just swing at your opponent. So these guys are really amazing. And then we are also playing a hybrid package, so I'm also playing 4 copies of Agunimon and 1 Burning Greymon. So these guys were just amazing all throughout testing. Agunimon just helps you go for game super quickly. Burning Greymon, I just wanted like a 5th hybrid, and he is really nice because he can become up to 9,000 during your turn whenever you're attacking. So a lot of times you can run over level 5s or just hit security, not have to worry about dying. But Agunimon's the best one, of course, because he's a lower cost, and your main goal with these guys is just to go for game. And you are playing lots of red Tamers, so there are times when you just want to like go into your Bond of Bravery, and then you'll check like 2 or 3 security cards, and then you'll go into like an Agunimon or 2, and then just finish off your opponent. So this deck can really OTK, like truly OTK, if you get the proper setup right. Other than that, he's just really good to put on pressure. Now, another thing I do want to mention, again, as far as rulings go, Burning Greymon is not treated as a Greymon card in any capacity, okay? So this does not work with Tai whatsoever, okay? If you bring this out of the breeding area, you're not going to gain a memory, you can't draw a card. This doesn't work with, for example, like Heir of the Dragons or Nokia or anything that references like it being a Greymon. It's purely Greymon just due to a translation thing, okay? So that's another thing to mention, but that is it for the level 4s. And then for the other Digimon, playing, of course, your 4 copies of Agumon Bond of Bravery. So this guy is just an absolutely insane card. Powerful level 7, has 2 effects. When attacking, if you have a Tamer in play, you get to delete something with 13,000 or less. That is such a huge threshold. So basically, anytime you declare your attack, you get to just delete any level 6 or lower, and occasionally level 7 if you happen to run into a Millenniumon or something like that. And then his second effect is once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, you get to trash the top card of their security stack. So that, of course, includes like when his attacking effect goes off. So you can declare your attack, delete something on your opponent's field, effect will trigger, then you get to trash the top card of your opponent's security, and then you will get to check with his remainder attack. And then, of course, if you got like that Agumon underneath him, he'll check too. But this guy is insane, of course, because of his effects. But the really, really crazy part is, as you can see, I'm not even playing any level 5s or 6s in this deck. Well, any red level 6s, I should say. But the main thing that makes this like deck broken is because you can just warp onto a Agumon for a 3 cost. You can just slap this guy if you got Tai on the field. You can just slap a level 7 on top of this dude for a 3 cost, not have to pass turn, and then you just get to attack, check 2 security cards, kill something, and it's just really, really crazy because of the accessibility you have to this card, and because of the fact that you can warp is just so insane. So I think this card has many good things about it. Another cool thing is that his once per turn effect is it like if like let's say somehow he survives and then like you start your turn and he's on the field, if you like Gaia Force your opponent or something, you still get his effect to trash a security card because it's just whenever one of your opponent's Digimon is deleted. Okay, so that's really amazing as far as Bond of Bravery goes. And then for the last Digimon I'm playing in the deck is just 2 copies of Magnadramon. So this deck does play like a security control deck a little bit. I'm playing lots of option cards, as you'll see. So having the recovery option is really insane, especially because if you go into Bond of Bravery, you'll have to trash 2 cards of your security. And then what you can do is that once you're done like deleting your opponent's stuff, you can just play Magnadramon and then recover the 2 security cards you just got rid of. Okay, and then another cool interaction. There's a lot of rulings involved in this deck that people should be aware of. But so another cool interaction is involving Tai. Okay, so one thing you can do, right, is let's say you have exactly 2 security cards or 2 or less, right? And then let's say you have your Agumon, and then you have this guy on field. You bring this out, you warp into your Bond of Bravery, discard your 2 security cards, whatever. Now you're at 0 security, and then let's say like you'll do your play, attack, whatever. And then what Tai says is that when you warp into this card, you trash the top 2 cards of your security, and then it says, then if you have 1 or more security cards, delete that Digimon at the end of the turn. So it checks your security when you Digivolve into this guy. So like, let's say you're at 0, and then you've done your whole play, and then at the end of your turn, you will play your Magnadramon, go back to 2 security. Agumon Bond of Bravery will not actually die because this checks at the time of your evolution, not at the end of the turn. Okay, so that's another really cool interaction you can do. I haven't actually come across that situation throughout testing. It's probably very niche, but it is just something to be aware of. So anyway, so that is it for the Digimon. And then getting into the option cards and the Tamers. So for the Tamers, I am playing, of course, 4 copies of the best Tamer in the deck, Tai Kamiya. So Tai is fantastic for a couple of different reasons. Of course, the ability to let you warp into your Bond of Bravery for 3 costs is so crazy. It's very unexpected. Like sometimes your opponent won't see it coming, and it'll just, or they won't be ready for it, and it can just completely devastate their field and checking multiple securities at the same time. And then, of course, being able to just draw 1 and gain a memory at the start of your turn whenever you bring out an Agumon, which you will pretty much always do, is amazing, because if you don't have a memory Tamer, right, let's say you've got like 2 of this guy on field, you'll guaranteed go to 3 because this effect stacks, so you'll gain 2 memory, draw 2 cards. So there's a couple times throughout testing where I had like 2, 3, even 4 on field at one time, and it was just crazy. Every turn I would like draw 3 cards and gain a bunch of memory, so it's pretty insane. And then for the other Tamers, I am playing 2 copies of Marcus Damon, only 2 because I'm actually playing a 3rd Tamer in this deck, but 2 copies because I think being at 3 is very important. But his effect to basically suspend himself to gain memory if you're attacking with a Greymon hardly ever came up. The only time it would ever come up is with the promo Greymon. Again, you can't use this with Burning Greymon, but that didn't really come up throughout testing that much. You're just basically playing it as a red Tamer to guarantee yourself 3 memory. But I'm also playing 3 copies of Izzy and Joe, so this seems very, very extra, but you'll see why I'm playing this card. So I didn't really want like multiples of Marcus, so having like Marcus plus Izzy Joe or Marcus plus Tai was like enough. And then if you have like all three or multiples of each, it's just even more crazy. There was one game where I had like Marcus, Izzy, double Izzy Joe, and like Tai, and I went up to like 3, 4, and then I gained 4. So I started my turn with like 8 memory. So being able to start your turn with so much memory is pretty insane, especially because you need the memory to be able to go into your bond play. That would cost 3, and then you want at least like 2 to go into a hybrid. But sometimes if you have multiple hybrids in your hand, you can just straight up OTK your opponent if you go into like bond and then you have like another Digimon on field and then you have like 2 hybrids. Okay, so it comes up a lot. And then of course this being able to just punish your opponent for playing the game of Digimon and kind of slowing down the pace, allowing them to only have one Digimon at a time, otherwise you're just going to gain a ton of memory. And then of course being able to use it as a black source was like the most important part of me deciding to play this card. So I think it's a really fun card and very splashable in lots of different decks. So then for the option cards, playing, of course, one of the best removal cards in the game is for Gaia Force. So, of course, being a red kind of control deck for Gaia Force is pretty standard. And then being able to put this in your security with Magnetmon and stuff is really insane. And then now for the really, really spicy cards. So 2 copies of Heir of the Dragons. Now, this is, at the time of recording this profile, North America does not have access to the Memory Boost cards, so I would probably swap this out with Red Memory Boost once we get those, and the other 2 red option cards I'm about to show. But for now, this is a Pot of Greed. It lets you draw 2 cards, and then now it doesn't have the delay effect, but it does have a secondary effect. If you've got a Greymon, of course excluding Burning Greymon, a Greymon or a Drummon, which does include Magnetmon, you get to delete something with 4,000 or lower. So that is a pretty cool deletion effect. It's just a bonus, but mainly you're just using it to draw 2. And then I'm also playing 2 copies of Gravity Crush. So this helps you just extend your plays even more. There are a lot of times, like I said, you just need memory to be able to OTK your opponent in one turn. Being able to do this lets you gaining 2 memory. That is a hybrid right there. So having multiples of these in hand, for example, that lets you go into like 2 extra hybrids per turn. So having this just extends your plays, lets you spam the board more, lets you play more Tamers, lets you set up for your OTKs, and just lets you go through with your OTKs. So I think Gravity Crush is like an insane card. I think I really like this card in this deck because I'm playing so many hybrids. Maybe if I wasn't playing those, I probably would cut this card. And like I said, I probably will cut like at least 3 of these 4 for like a red memory boost whenever I do get access to that. But then, you know, anyway, so Gravity Crush is really insane. And then for the last 2 cards, playing 1 copy of Iron Fist Onslaught and 1 Ultimate Flare. These were insane all throughout testing. I just wanted more good option cards to be able to play. Other red option cards, Red Reamer I think is a little bit situational. It's really nice though. Transcendent Sword I didn't think was as impactful this format as opposed to last format. So like I said, because I was playing the Izzy Joes, I wanted like black option cards, and I think black has access to some of the craziest option cards in the game. So I went with 1 and 1 in this. This is just for like Jessmon and any other deck that spams Rookie Rush, etc. This is for like everything else. So there were a couple of games where like both of these were really nice. So I don't think I'd ever want to see them too much because it can break since you're only playing the 3 black sources, but hitting them in security and stuff is really nice. So that is it for the main deck. And that is going to do it for the deck profile, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoy. What do you think of Agumon? Do you think the Bond of Bravery deck is superior to Bond of Friendship? I would like to think so, but maybe I'm a little bit biased. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.